I came across this post by a nurse who supposedly showed the dangers of doing sports with all sorts of x-rays of injuries, and it really annoyed me. So let's talk about the opposite, the dangers of not doing sports, and you can decide for yourselves what you prefer. And let's start with a light topic, death. Studies show that people who do not engage in physical activity are at a 20 to 30% higher risk of dying compared to those who exercise according to the recommendations. The second advantage of physical activity is in reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes. Here, the results are very clear. Studies show that a lifestyle change, which includes both dietary changes and physical activity, reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes by 58% in people who are at risk. The third advantage is in depression, both as a preventive tool and as a treatment itself. A systematic review and meta-analysis showed that physical activity reduces the likelihood of developing depression, even if it is below the recommended levels. The next topic is the occurrence of cancer. There we see studies showing that physical activity reduces the risk of breast cancer and colon cancer, and in several reviews by major organizations, physical activity has been recommended as an aid in preventing many types of cancer. So we've seen that physical activity can prevent many diseases, but let's talk about other dangerous things like driving on the road. The World Health Organization has shown that 1.19 million people are killed on the road every year. Another dangerous thing is a reduction in hours of sleep. Studies show that sleeping less than 6 hours is associated with a 12 to 13% increase in mortality. Also, sitting for 10 hours a day increases the risk of death by 34% compared to those who sit for only 1 hour a day. But there's no need to make statements like sitting kills. A massive meta-analysis of over 1 million people showed that moderate physical activity of 60 to 75 minutes a day almost completely erases the dangers of sitting. By the way, ultra-processed food, alcohol, excess salt, smoking, including passive smoking, stress, air pollution, loneliness, and a million other factors also harm our health. In short, this is called survivor bias, where we focus only on what we see, like all the people who do end up in the ER because of injuries, but ignore all the people who exercise and are completely healthy. Bottom line, people who are not physically active have a 20 to 30% higher risk of mortality compared to those who are active, and engaging in sports activity reduces the risk of many other diseases. So head outdoors into the fresh air, and engage in any kind of physical activity you enjoy. I wish you the very best of luck.